Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Rokah HaKodash, and double honors to the elders and bishops of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and salutations to the beloved prophets and teachers continue to exhort the sheep in these last days, and a mighty shalom to all the hopeful elect listening in, and to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, shalom, shalom. The title of this epistle is going to be entitled World Cup. World Cup. As we know, the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup, is going to be playing out soon. What I saw from those advertisements when I read World Cup was global judgments, and as we investigate the scriptures and bring things back to our acknowledgement of what is said to come. The cup of the Lord's indignation is going to be poured out without measure, mixed with dregs for firstly to the house of Israel, for the separation of the 1/3 and the 2/3, that will be discarded, along with those of the heathen nations for indignation. And that cup, that global judgment, must be given unto the heathens who have enslaved us in the four corners of the earth and subjugated us to hard bondage and heavy debt. So when I investigated and looked at the what is that magazine called, The Economist, The World Ahead, the magazine, if you zoom out, it displays a little soccer player on the bottom right hand corner kicking the ball, and that ball has a conglomerate or a collage of just chaos. It seems chaos. You see all kinds of things displayed on it, and what I saw was global judgments, World Cup global judgments. So with that being said, let's just jump right into the scriptures and see if we can tie all this together somehow. And right from the top, I'm going to go into Ezekiel chapter 30, verses 2 and 3. And it reads, Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus saith Yahweh power, Howl ye, woe worth the day, for the day is near, even the day of Yahweh is near, a cloudy day. It shall be the time of the heathen. So we are coming upon the time, and we are in the midst of the Lord's visitation. For he says in 2nd Ezra chapter 9, from the top, he says, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when you see part of the signs that I have told you before come to pass, then you will know that it's the very same time that the Most High, Yahweh Yahawashi, will begin to visit the earth in which he had made. And all these prophetic end time events are looking like they're lining up with scriptures, as you read in Matthew 24, Mark 13, Luke 21, and also found in your Apocrypha, 2nd Esdras 15 and 16, and 2nd Esdras 6, and 2nd Esdras 9, just to name a few that can help broaden your horizons in understanding of the prophetic things to come to pass, right? So he says, for the day is near, even the day of Yahweh is near, and his determination is to gather the nations and to bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat for judgment. Let's go there. Let's go into Joel 3. Joel 3 and 2, it says, I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, or the Most High Yahweh's judgment, and plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So when we read in Psalms chapter 83 who the Lord's enemies are, and who the enemies are of the nation of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, these are those that were involved in the conquering of our nation and scattering us to the four corners as just tools to build up their empires. But it is the year of the Most High Yahweh's visitation, for the controversy of Zion, for the regathering of his people. And he said he's going to plead with them for his heritage. And it's not him begging the heathen nations for his people. He's going to utterly pour out judgments. This is what is meant by he's going to plead with them. Continuing on in Joel chapter 3 and verse 3, he says, excuse me, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they may drink. This pairs nicely with Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, in which the Most High Yahweh said he's going to bring his people back into these strange lands on ships, via the ships, the transatlantic slave trade. And throughout history, for centuries and centuries, our people have just been used as a commodity for gain, right? He says they sold a boy for a harlot and a girl for wine. And this is historically written. This is public forum. You can go out and research it yourself, so you can tie the history with the mystery of the scriptures to reveal the understanding unto you, right? Let's go into, this is the World Cup. The Most High Yahweh, or Yahweh Shai, has a cup of fury that he's going to pour out without mixture, right? We're going to go to Ezekiel chapter 30. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter, no, I read that one already, sorry. Psalm 75. Psalm 75. Psalm 75. Sorry. Psalm 75 and verse, I'll start from verse 7. Psalm 75 verse 7 and 8. It says, but the Most High is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. So the Most High Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, determination is to bring down all these nations, those that have drunk from the cup of his the indignation, the one that was in the whore's hand, right? The great whore of Babylon. She made everybody drink from that cup and participated in the iniquities. This is why the cup is going to be poured out without dregs or mixture, because they have all made a pact into that that iniquity. Verse 8, for in the hand of Yahweh there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, all kinds of iniquity, all kinds of sin, everything unimaginable under the sun. And he poureth out the same, but the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. This is that cup of wrath that the Most High Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, has indignation, that he has indignation for these nations. And 2/3 of our people, they're considered another nation as well, a rebellious nation. But the 1/3 that are going to be drawn back to the Father, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, and keep his ways and fear him and do the work. These are those that have the hope of being covered in the times to come, and the wrath of that indignation being poured out. I'm going to go quickly into Revelation chapter 18, and I'll start from verse 2. He says, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen. This is modern day Babylon in Egypt, right? It is known for a place of just heavy debt and much iniquity, and much sin abounds from the east to the west. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become a habitation of devils. That's right. This place is built on bloodshed and sorrow, and everything unclean under the sun has happened on this land. Babylon the great is fallen, it is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. There's all kinds of malicious and vicious birds that continue to eat and peck the meat of our people, the poor and the downcast. This is what these hateful birds do. They just come by and they eat the carcasses of our people. Revelation chapter 3 Revelation chapter 18 and verse 3 says, "For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxen rich through the abundance of her delicacies." Right? And we cry out to our people. Next verse, he says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues." This is why it is so necessary to understand the 5 books of Moses in the law, and not partaking and investing your energy and time into a place that he's going to bring down low. Babylon is going to be brought down low. Do not be partakers of her iniquities, he says, right? Let's jump over to Revelation chapter 18 and verse 12. It reads, "And the merchandise of gold," this is when all economic power is going to cease coming into the nation of the West here. He says, "The merchandise of gold and silver and the precious stones and of the pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and thine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble." These are the commodities, the things that come into this land for economic sustainability and for commerce, but these things are going to stop. And cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beast and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. Everybody had put their 2 cents into building up this nation. It's going to come to naught. It's going to be utterly a demise and a snare unto those that are still spiritually invested in Babylon, the great whore, in which the cup of fury is going to be passed to, and without measure, that world cup, that global judgment that's going to be passed about, right? Let's go into Isaiah 40. Isaiah 40, that cup of judgment, that cup of wrath is going to be poured out without measure. Isaiah chapter 40, and we'll grab verses 1 to 3. It says, comfort ye, my people, saith your power. Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her. Jerusalem, Zion, Israel are a people before a place. He's telling the anointed, the prophets, to go and speak to his people, those that have been given that Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, to go and speak comfortably unto his people. Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her. Cry unto her means to plead with the dispersed, the people of your nation that's in the Gentile state of mind, to come out of her and not partake of her iniquities, to cry, to lift your voice up and show them their transgressions. Give them the history of where they came from, because they have forgotten. They've been given a spirit of slumber, and they have been complacent and comfortable in Babylon the Great, but is going to be an utter snare unto them. Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her that her warfare is accomplished. That warfare, the curses that have been placed upon the people, it has now been fulfilled, right? Because now that cup is going to be passed unto those that have touched the apple of the Most High Yahweh's power people, and have parted his land. All these historical judgments and iniquities are going to be now weighed in the balance and put upon a scale for everyone to drink of the cup of their iniquities. Whether it be good or bad, you will receive the judgments that are done therein. Everyone's iniquity is going to be answered for, right? So speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, cry unto her that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned, for she hath received of Yahweh's hand double for all her sins. And we have the history substantiating who had bear all these iniquities and sins and poverty and everything under the sun. It is, we have the history to substantiate it, right? And it's also written in the scriptures. Verse 3, the voice of him that crieth in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of Yahweh, make straight in the desert a highway for our power. So the prophets are standing on their feet in full power and full glory and revealing unto the masses out on the public highways and hedges, and even in these electronic epistles here, the word is going forth and it's reaching the four corners of the earth and is reaching the ears of the nobles, the powers that be. They understand what's going on as well, and they're setting up an infrastructure to ensnare those that are not privy to this understanding and will be caught off guard. As in the days of Noah, they were building and being preoccupied in all things, but they haven't put down the burdens of this life and made ready for the second coming of Hamashiach Yahushai. These are those that are going to be caught off unaware, and we're crying out to our people that our kinsman redeemer, the day of his judgments is near, and also the redemption is nigh. It is even at the door. All things are aligning with the scriptures because we are measuring down the time diligently. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 51. Isaiah chapter 51, and I'll grab verse 17. 51 and verse 17. It says, awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which has drunk at this hand of the Lord of cup of his fury, and has drunken the dregs of the cup of trembling, and wrung them out. Right. Our people have already drunk from this cup of iniquity. We can bear witness the heavy hand of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, and this same cup of trembling and dregs and wrath is going to be passed unto the enemies of the nation of Yasharallah, right? The 12 tribes of Israel. That same cup is going to be passed unto them. For it is written in Deuteronomy chapter 30. Deuteronomy chapter 30. Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7. Yeah, I'll just grab 7. Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7, it says, and Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee and persecute thee. He will only do this until the time that you have come to the acknowledgement of who you are and your iniquities and your trespasses and your forefathers' trespasses, and properly repented of them and are being washed in the word and keeping his word and being found in good graces and good standing with the Most High Yahweh your power, and practicing the righteous acts of our forefathers and keeping his moeds, the Sabbath days to the best of your abilities, and to putting forth those good works, waking up your brothers, right? Waking up your sisters and telling them who they are. And then these curses are going to be passed to the nations, right? Because their iniquities are being found out and sought up. Let's go to Obadiah. Let's go to Obadiah. Yeah, let's go to Obadiah and grab verse 10. It says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. This is speaking in particularly to Esau, Edom, right? Esau, Edom, the European powers that had a very big part in taking us captive. We are prisoners of war. We are the descendants and the offsprings of a generation of people that were brought over to this land against their will, according to the curses that were placed upon them, and were continuously subjected underneath the rule of all these nations. But unto a time we have received double for our iniquities, and in due time our captivity will end. That goes into Isaiah chapter 61. It is the gospel being preached unto the poor, the ones that's locked up in prison houses, and all these that were subjected in hard bondage and given no hope, no hope, right? These are those. So Esau, Edom's, his iniquities are being sought up, and they're being brought up to the forefront of the world stage, if you will, as in remembrance. So all things are going to be tied together on who the Most High Yahweh power is dealing with and who his people are. We're going to Amos chapter 1, and it lightly, well, not lightly, but it goes into the judgments of in particular nations, right? We got Moab, Gaza, Esau, Edom. Give me 1 second. My preset was dislodged, so. Amos 1 and 11, it says, Thus saith Yahweh power, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishments thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. Right? Esau Edom has continuously slayed his brother Jacob, and has pursued him with the sword, because this was Esau Edom's blessing. His blessing was to have power over, military might, and have the power of the sword. This is how he got it, but he got it wrongfully. He gathered up to him lands that are not his, and people and nations. That's found in Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5, right? So let's go into Jeremiah real quick. Jeremiah chapter 49. We're still talking about that World Cup, that cup of fury that's going to be passed unto our enemies. Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 12, he says, For thus saith Yahweh power, Behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. He's saying that that cup of judgment, it will surely have to be drunken from those that have committed these iniquities and these war crimes, and all things are going to be put in that cup for our enemies to drink. All those that have partaken of that cup of indignation, right? This is what the sovereign Yahweh or Yahweh Shai is saying here, right? Because all the iniquities of the earth is going to be sought out and is being brought to the forefront and have to be answered for. Let's go to Psalms 137. Psalms 137. Psalms 137. Yep. Psalms 147 and verse 7. It says, Remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. This is calling out to our power Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, to remember the destruction of when Esau Edom has laid our foundations of our nation waste, right? They destroyed our temples. They destroyed our people. Excuse me. So it says, remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom. He says, remember the children of Edom, right? Because in Isaiah 14, I'm looking for it. Isaiah 14, when you say, remember the children, Isaiah 14 and verse 21, it says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers. So by bringing remembrance to the children of Edom in the visitation of the 3rd and the 4th generation, those iniquities, unrepented sins, have to be answered for. Judgment now lies on the offsprings of those forefathers who had partaken in those iniquities, right? It says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the indignation of their fathers, that they do not rise or possess the land, nor fill the faces of the world with cities. He's going to cut off the seed line of Esau, Edom, right? No more are they going to continue to build up an empire for themselves, to reestablish themselves. For I will raise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith Yahweh power. This is the word. This is what he said he's going to do. And he is a man that he is a man that he should not lie, right? Because he is going to bring these things come to pass. Go to Lamentations chapter 4 and start at verse 21 and verse 22. It says, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup of judgment, that world cup, is going to be passed through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked, exposed, right? The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. Now he's going to, and he will discover thy sins. He's going to expose. He's going to utterly expose the iniquity of Esau, Edom. Is going to be brought up to the forefront and will have to be answered for. Right? Have to be answered for. So that cup of judgment is going to be passed to our enemies. And it's a most dreadful cup to be drunken from. Let's go to Isaiah 34. Isaiah 34. We're talking about that cup of fury, that world cup, that the cup of judgment that will be passed unto all the other nations to drink from, because they have drunken from the cup of Babylon, the cup of her indignation. Isaiah 34. Isaiah 34. Isaiah 34, and I'll start at verse 2. It says, for the indignation of Yahweh is upon all the nations, and his fury upon their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Again, when he brings down these powers, he's going to deliver those those nations to the slaughter, right? He said he's going to bring them down to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, the valley of judgment, and he's going to pour out his indignation upon them. Their slain also shall be cast out. Their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. It's going to be utter catastrophe and total decimation. You know, all these people have nuclear armaments. They have all kinds of missiles, and they use all kind of biological warfare and so on and so forth. It's going to be a desolation. It's going to be a desolation. Jump down. It says, for my sword, verse 5, it says, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come upon Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Idumea, that word in the Greek, it goes into Edom, Esau, Edom, red, right? The red people. And upon the people of my curse to judgment. Verse 6, the sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat and with fatness, and with blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Yahweh hath a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Right? So this cup of wrath, and when it goes into this verse here, that is the Lord's portion, the fat, his sacrifice portion, right? His sacrificial portion. Jumping up at verse 8, it says, for it is the day of Yahweh's vengeance, in the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. Again, he says he's going to bring all the nations to the valley of Jehoshaphat and plead with them for his people. This is the controversy of Zion. He's going to pour out judgments. Going to Ezekiel 25. Ezekiel chapter 25. In verse 12 to 14 it reads, Thus saith Yahweh Power, because that Edom have dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and hath greatly offended, and revenged himself upon them. He took vengeance upon himself, right? From the beginning, he said that he's going to wait for his father to pass on and then pursue his brother with the sword, right? Because he was extremely angry and wroth because of the blessing. Verse 13, Therefore thus saith the Yahweh Power, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword. Verse 14, And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, Yasharallah, and they shall do in Edom according to my anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith Yahweh Power. Right? The Most High's determination is to pursue now Edom for all his transgressions and all his iniquities, right? His nation people. Let's go to Ezekiel 35. I'm almost done. Ezekiel 35. Yeah. Ezekiel 35. Ezekiel 35. Start at verse 1. It says, Moreover, let me start at verse 2. Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it. When you set your face against something, it's not for the good. It's to bring forth judgment, right? Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, This is an order, this is a commandment of the Most High Yahweh Power, to proclaim and declare unto our people the message of redemption and salvation, and what they must do to walk in line to receive that favor. And we're also to declare unto these nations their judgment for what they have done utterly and slain our people. This is the command. He says, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith Yahweh Power, Behold, O Mount Seir. Mount Seir would be going into Esau, Edom, right? From the beginning, Esau, Edom, he was given Mount Seir. It was his land. But he went out and started taking things that was not his. He is a thief and a liar. I am against thee, and I will stretch my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay the cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. But they continue to further the affliction, right? They continue to put forth message of hate and showcase our people as vile and disdain and heathens. But the Most High Yahweh has a determination to visit these iniquities at the hand of Esau, Edom, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh Power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Right. Esau, Edom has been untouched for a very long time, right? Has always pursued at his hand other nations and conquered them and set up his flag and destroyed our people. Now blood is going to pursue him. Verse 7 of Ezekiel chapter 35. Thus saith Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. Right. There will be no more economic power. It will be brought all the way down low. And we see now that they're setting up an infrastructure to be self-sustained in the event of these things coming to pass. You know, no more shipments coming in, but now going to make this nation a totalitarian state, along with other nations that are participating in it as well, right? But the Most High Yahweh power is going to allow it to happen for a time, and then pour out his cup of wrath and indignation unto those nations, right? Let's go and we'll finish up. We'll grab Isaiah chapter 47. Isaiah chapter 47, verse 1 and verse 3. Because blood, what we read in the last chapter, because blood will now pursue Esau, Edom. This is going into it. It says, Isaiah chapter 47 from the top, it says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne." Now that throne, that power, that power that she once had is going to be utterly removed. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldees, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstone and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. The Most High is very angry. He's going to utterly reveal Esau, Edom, and his shame, and utterly destroy it. Right? I want to go into Nahum real quick. Nahum chapter 3 and verse 4 and 5. It reads, "Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot," that well-favored harlot goes into mystery Babylon, the whore, right? The mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Yahweh power of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. The Most High Yahweh Yahushua is exposing all these iniquities and sins of this of these kingdoms, and particularly Esau, Edom, these European powers, these European nations. They all conspired to overthrow the children of Israel, but we have an adversary. We have an advocate with the Father, Yahweh Shai, and he's making intercession for his elect, for his chosen, for his 1/3 remnant, that cluster of the grape, that good fruit, the ones that have repented and are seeking his face while he may be found. Sorry. So yeah, final verse. Let's go to Habakkuk real quick. Habakkuk 2, and we'll grab verse 3 and 5, and we'll finish out. Habakkuk 2, verses 3 to 5. It reads, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." These things, these transformation of things that are happening before our eyes, they're happening gradually. This is why it's important to endure and stay alert and not be lulled back to sleep and complacent, because at a moment's notice, things can happen suddenly, and you do not want to be caught naked. You want to be girded up always and be mindful of the times that we're living in, so you're not overthrown. Habakkuk 2 and verse 4, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up, very proudful spirit, is not upright in him." This is referring to the carnal man, Esau, Edom, and those just like him. But the just shall live by his faith. The just are those that are separating themselves from the cares of this life, the carnal pleasures, and are staying locked into the spirit and using wisdom to move about in this world and wait patiently for the second coming of Yahweh Shai. We are building up our faith with the knowledge of the scriptures and not seeking out worldly pleasures. Verse 5, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. This gluttonous, insatiable, power-hungry people, they're always looking to stay in a position of power that is established on bloodshed. But gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. This is that spirit of Babylon, right? That Babylonian system, come all together as one, and let's all speak that one language, and so on and so forth. So that cup of fury, the World Cup, is going to be passed on to the 2/3 of our people, and ultimately unto the heathen nations that put their hands on the apple of the Lord's eye. So with that, I pray that this is edifying unto the elect, and to Wada Abanawa Yahweh for another opportunity to bring forth some edification. Until the next time, Shalom.